Hi, this video is part of my series covering current affairs and looking at what kind of advice would I be giving them as a transformational sociologist to the situations they have found themselves in, and also how we as human beings in a society can perhaps look at dissecting what actually happened and how we can actually bring in something constructive and not just idle gossip into the mix. So today we're going to be looking at New Zealand and the recent news about New Zealand's Justice Minister Kiri Allan, who also happens to be my local MP, and her involvement in an incident that led to her resignation, which has sparked intense debate from various quarters, and also debates on how we deal with staff who have got mental health issues. Now, I've got a disclaimer here. I affiliate with no particular political party. I have advised people on various ends of the spectrum, with the individual conversations always being confidential, regardless of who I'm advising. So I just wanted you to know that. Now, and I also wanted you to know that regardless of political affiliations, we must examine our reactions to individuals facing mental health issues, regardless of who they are, and offer empathy and understanding during their healing journey. Now, in this blog, we will delve into the significance of acknowledging the mental health issues and the importance of supporting those through difficult times. Now, if you are one of my viewers from overseas, and you don't know what the story is, just Google it, just say Kiri Allan, New Zealand Justice Minister, and you can find the background to the current affairs story. I won't go through that here. For those of you that don't know me, I am Dr. Jessica, your transformational sociologist. What that simply means is that I work with individuals such as yourselves, politicians, actors, people, high net worth individuals, or anybody really that need my support, to craft a place where you can thrive. And I also work with organizations, be it councils or government or private organizations, to create places that can enable people to thrive. Now, there are numbers of websites or YouTube channels or other channels that talk about money and fitness and other things, and they're all great. But this channel, if you want to figure out how you craft a place in the world, we all need a place to live in. So we can either live it in someone else's terms or we can live it in our terms. And we're all limited by the bounds of time. So you want to figure out how you craft your place in the world within the bounds of time in a way that you want to live. This is the channel for you. Right, to today's story. Kiri Allan, Justice Minister, my local MP, and the issues that she's facing today, from the point of view of what I would advise her if I'm talking to her, or what I would advise you if you asked me how you would deal with someone like that. Now, I know politics is polarizing. It's very easy to throw stones at somebody that you don't always align with when they fall from grace. Now, there are things that Kiri's done that I like. There are things that she's done as a politician. Her beliefs are not mine, so I don't agree with that. But what I do agree with is that we all need to treat each other as human beings and with mana and dignity. When news of Kiri Allan's resignation broke, it became evident that she was obviously dealing with personal struggles relating to mental health. In such situations, it's crucial to, approach the matter with empathy rather than judgment. As humans, we have actually made tremendous advancements in the field of physical illness. I'm a sociologist and a doctor in a PhD, but I've got a lot of family that are medical doctors or scientists who can talk to how far we've come in terms of treating our physical bodies. But mental health remains an area where progress is still needed. So with that in mind, we need to realize that there's not everything we understand. And so we must deal with empathy, whether they are public figures or everyday people, and that they all need empathy, compassion, and support. Now, Empathy, compassion, and support does not mean then that they don't face the consequences of their actions. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it's just that our responses should be measured and understanding. This also needs to be consequences and forgiveness. But remember, like I said to you, there must be consequences for the actions of a person, regardless of whether they had mental health issues or not. And I think Kiri Allan's resignation was appropriate, and the fact that the Prime Minister recognizes that her role as a minister has become untenable, and so she has faced the consequences of her actions. Beyond that, what we can do is not just keep throwing stones at the person that's down. Throwing stones whilst the person is down is not acting with dignity. What we can do is, what are the lessons we can learn in future? Somebody with a portfolio such as a minister, what measures can we put in place so this doesn't happen again? And what would we do when somebody deals with mental health issues? How can we help them, and how can we provide wraparound support before it becomes too late? Now, in my future videos, I'm going to talk about some issues that's I'm actually traumatized by when I read the news. And we look at that in a future video and how we can deal with that. This is where people with mental health issues, they've done things and hurt people, and how do we recognize that before it becomes too late? And obviously, Kiri Allan's situation, no one else got hurt, thank goodness, but she's obviously distressed. So regardless of whether or not I like everything about her politics, I need to deal with empathy. And this is where the role in society becomes very important. Now, I've looked at some blogs that where people on the other end of the spectrum are laughing out loud, but when one politician on the other end of the spectrum falls down. Now, look, I would say to you, I might align with your politics. I'm just using this as an example, but you've sold yourself short by not being an empathetic person in this situation. So, if I were advising any opposition politicians from a PR point of view, I would be saying, deal with empathy. Say, look, this has happened. She has suffered the consequences of her actions. And now we need to put protocols in place to make sure every cabinet minister is able to open up to their mental health issues, but we also have protections in place so the right person is leading the country at the right time, or leading the portfolios at the right time, which should be the empathetic response, no matter which party you are aligned with. And we must recognize that public figures, such as politicians, face immense pressure and scrutiny, which can exacerbate mental health issues. Now, if you are somebody who's at home, your mental health issue is just as important as someone who's in a limelight. But the fact is that you can go back home and deal with it privately, whereas somebody who's got a public profile may not. So I would encourage you to consider that before throwing stones. As a society, we must aim to create an environment that fosters understanding and compassion rather than promoting judgment and criticism. Providing a supportive and non-judgmental space for individuals is important and crucial in providing overall health and well-being. I'll tell you why this is important. Now, if we tell our staff they're not allowed to have mental health issues, or we laugh at them or put them down when they do have mental health issues, you know what happens? People won't talk about it, and then we'll only find out about it when it's too late. And that can have dire consequences for the individual concerned, and God forbid for others, that consequences that cannot be reversed, which we don't want. So we need to be able to talk about mental health in a safe space. Yes, if people should have the consequences for the actions that they take, but also it should be okay for people to back off and say, look, hey, I'm not okay, so I need to back off, and that should be, and have a rest. It should be okay to resign or take a break. We live in a society where we encourage, for us, strength means saying, I'm okay, it's all good, I can do this. Yes, that's good too. I look at transforming people's lives by saying, how can you get rid of your limitations and become a force to be reckoned with? But getting rid of your limitations doesn't mean ignoring it. It means working through your limitations, understanding it, acknowledging it, and knowing when to shoot forward and when you must rest. That's where true power is. Truly awakening a person's greatness means being self aware, understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, knowing when you're okay, and knowing that you're not okay, and that's it's okay to take a step back. And the reason I think empathy is important is, remember, we are all human. Today, if you throw stones, tomorrow that very stone could be thrown back at you. So yes, she needs to face the consequences of her actions, and she has. But remember, before the man that throws the first stone, the Bible says, you be careful. Be careful, because the stone can be thrown back at you. What can we learn from Kiri Allan's experience? Despite your political differences, if that's what you have a different political view, it is essential to remember, acknowledge that Kiri's experience is a reminder that anyone can face mental health issues. By recognizing this, we can adopt a more compassionate society and support others through the difficult times. Empathy and understanding should be extended to all, regardless of their backgrounds, their political, religious beliefs, or whether you agree with them or whether you just think they have no idea what they're talking about. Whether that's what you think, we need to still deal with empathy. And only by doing that, we can encourage healing and growth. And you know what? If you're a kind of person, I don't care about someone else, you say, I just care about myself. Look at it from your point of view. If you have people with significant mental health issues running around and they can't talk about it, it's not just bad for them, it is also bad for you. Think about it that way. If that's what you need to encourage healing and growth. Or people always ask me when I do these blog posts, what would you give such and such individual if you were advising them? Now, if I had the privilege and opportunity to advise Kiri Allan, I would be encouraging her to take some time off and prioritize her healing journey. Kiri, it's okay to be not okay. It is important to acknowledge your actions, which I'm sure you will do if you haven't already. And it's also important to step away from the constant scrutiny and media coverage and focus on yourself. Emerge stronger, bring out the greatness within you by understanding where you've gone wrong, putting it all out there, calming your spirit, take all the time you need, and grow from your experience. Mental health healing takes time, patience, and support, which is vital for everyone, irrespective of their role and status. And it is especially vital for you, who has been in public scrutiny for a long time. You know what, Kiri? We live in one of the most beautiful parts of the world. What a privilege. If there's anywhere people can get healing, it is here in the Eastern Bay of Plenty. And I encourage you to do so. So to my viewers who are watching from around New Zealand, around the world, Kiri Allan is just one example of many individuals in the limelight that have brought to light that mental health struggle is real. What I'm telling you is, let's make our society safe in that people with mental health issues, and it could be us tomorrow, that we can talk about it. We can put our hand up and say, I need some time off to have a break, to deal with my issues, and emerge stronger, wiser, and become greater, so our society can be more empowered because I have brought out the best version of myself. And to those of us who are not thankfully suffering from mental health afflictions at this point of time, instead of throwing stones, let's just shower people with mental health issues with kindness, with empathy, and enabling them to heal. Of course, if somebody else, someone else will be affected because of someone's mental health issues, we should still deal with that with kindness, but remove the person with mental health issues. I'm not talking about Kiri Allan. I will in the future videos talk about others who have, through their mental health issues, have hurt other people, children maybe. Remove the children from these people until they can heal. But for the most part, for people like Kiri Allan and others, give them time to heal. And for people like Kiri Allan, my advice would be, when we have mental health addictions, it's easy to scream it out, shout, and, I guess that's our way of saying, listen to me. But maybe just train ourselves to say, look, I need time, I need support, I need wraparound services. And thank you to those that have been around me. And we need to create a society where it's okay to say that. So if you're listening to me and you're suffering from mental health issues, I'm telling you, send me an email or post in comments. Find someone around you, a pastor, someone, a counselor, a friend who can give you the safe space to be not okay. Get guidance from those that can truly give you guidance. Now I know that look, I'm brushing up my psychology and counseling skills by doing certifications and diplomas in psychology, but I always tell the people even that I'm talking to, look, you must remember, just because you've done a diploma in psychology doesn't mean you're the expert at everything. So to those of you suffering from mental health issues, make sure you go to the right person that can truly help you. And those of you that are there, that are friends and who are the wraparound service, make sure that the person with the mental health issue is contacting the right coach, right counselor, right psychologist, and getting the right advice. Above all, my friends, let's create a society where it is okay to talk about mental health issues. In so doing, we can move our society forward to something that's greater, because we'll have many more people that are healed, that have inner peace, that can bring out their fullest potential. I'm Dr. Jessica, your transformational sociologist. If you've liked this video, this is a very new YouTube channel, so I would encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Post in comments the kinds of videos you'd like to see in terms of how we can craft better places in the world, how you can thrive within the bounds of time. Until next time, keep sparkling wherever you are.